Hey, what's up, man? Uh, it's Russell Miller here. Sal's Secrets. You can call me Sal, Russell. I don't know if any fucking. I can't get. Uh, I can't get this to go out to say that I'm live. I don't know if anyone saw that. I just sent that out. So yeah, I don't know what I'm. If this is even gonna. Um, I was just reading a lot of history for school that really blew my mind, and it just the things that hold on one sec. Let me try to get some. I mean, how does somebody see that I went live? Does anyone know how to see that I went live? I mean, oh, there's a way to share screen on here. Share screen. I don't know what the fuck to do. Um, Hey, Miss Can't Be Wrong. What's up? All right, so somebody saw I went live. That's cool. I know. I don't know if you're gonna stick around, but ask your boy to not block me, man. I really like his shows, man. Um, and it's funny. I was thinking of that day. I don't like to talk about that day. I lost my mind and said all those horrible things that I did to myself, and said I was dead and all that. And he was the first show up, and I'll never forget. Um, he's like he didn't buy it, and he's like, Sal, if you just come on now and say ha ha, and before this goes any further, and I swear. And Angelos and Soto, the guy in this chat, was hilarious. He said, "Hey, what's up, Iggy Smalls?" And the guy Soto in his chat was fucking funny as fuck. And he's like, I don't have my glasses right now, but I can still see all your messages. What do you mean? What the fuck? That crazy Nixon shit. I hear you. I don't know what I was talking about. I was talking about my schoolwork. It got me all worked up. But I was fucking just talking about today. I wish I took FA. Michael Mormile, how are you, brother? Why are you not in church? Oh shit! It's fucking Sunday service. I can't do that. Okay, I'm gonna get off in a minute. I don't want to. Not that I would take anyone from Gunsmoke anyway, but thank you all for coming to say hello. I appreciate it, even if you're staying in Sunday church. I just wanted to talk for a minute. I, I. It's funny. I was talking about. All right, cool, cool. Um, I was just talking to Miss Can't Be Wrong. I was because I must be blocked from one of my fucking psycho episodes on FBS. And he's a busy motherfucker. He ain't gonna remember everyone he blocks. I don't even think he purposely blocked me because he did a show about me, pissed off, but then he apologized the next day. And I didn't ask him to. He actually left me a voicemail or a text message the night before and said, "Just so you know, I'm gonna just shout you out in the beginning of the next show and apologize. I didn't mean a lot of what I said." And it was cool. And but he never unblocked me, and I like his shows. They're pretty funny, and they've always amused me more than other people's shows on MobTube. Something about his humor. It's like old school Howard Stern sometimes when he's in a good mood, and it's funny to me. And so I noticed I was blocked because he would never ignore certain things I wrote in there, and but the day I said I was dead, and I've never talked about this day, and I don't ever want to bring it up again because it's just disgusting. But he was the first one that went on, and I was watching him, and he brought it up, and he's like, Sal, just come on, jump on the show and say, I got you guys, and like, kind of was like fucking. Just before this gets any crazier or worse, just jump on, and I tried to do it because then what happened is Soto said, all you need to do is drop the link because that's what me and everyone have been fighting about is FBS dropped the link and I jumped on and he was pissed at me and it got us in a fight because I wasn't for me. And that time, Gunsmoke and me and them were fighting bad at the time because of dropping the link, and it was because I got sandbagged actually because they were playing a joke on me. Common played a joke on me and said drop the link, and then told me to go on, knowing Howie was going to get pissed, and then Howie got pissed, and we got in a fight and blah blah blah. It's all funny now looking back at it, but Soto was hilarious because he said, "Yo, just drop the link and he'll show up. He'll come back from the dead." And I was swear to God I was gonna do it, and he never dropped the link. And I think I was blocked anyway because I was like, you know what? Let me fix this before this goes any further. And I was gonna be like, yo, and I was gonna blame my friend. I don't know what I was gonna do. But next thing you know, I could not get a comment through on his show. I was timed out, or I was already blocked because I told him "fuck you." The last conversation we had, I said "fuck you" to him, so he probably blocked me already. So as the hours went on and more people started doing shows about it, I was just like, "Fuck!" I couldn't believe that shit fucking got so crazy, man. Thanks, Michael Mormile. I appreciate it. But lately I've been trying to see the humor in things because I'm not getting sober and fucking doing all this fucking shit, fucking, uh, just so I can die miserable. I guess at this point is what I'm trying to say. The number one cause of death for my heart disease, it's called cardiomyopathy. It's heart failure, not even heart disease. The only thing that could cure me is a transplant, and I don't deserve a transplant. Even I know that. I can't make an argument for that. And so, the doctor said, the last time I got an echocardiogram, it was positive, believe it or not, and it was improving. And I go for another one at the end of February. I was just thinking about telling you something. Let me know, brother. Um, and the the um, the heart thing, you know, I forgot what the fuck I was saying about it. What the fuck was I talking about the heart thing for? I don't know. I fucking damn. I just fucking lost my fucking whole shit right there. I don't know why I lost my concentration, man. Ooh, see, that's why I tell my doctor I need Adderall, but whatever. So I will get back. If anyone remembers what I was saying, you don't know. I don't deserve a transplant. I would take a transplant, but oh, there we go. Thank you, Michael. So cardiomyopathy is the name of my heart failure, and because I have no clogged arteries, I can't get any stents in there. So really, I have to depend on my medication, and I'm on like 19 pills and a lot of water pills and this and that, and I'm not supposed to be smoking crack, obviously, and when my family first found out about this, yeah, I meant to say, yeah, not that I don't want a transplant, but I don't qualify for one. I mean, I don't know if my doctor, I've been to rehab my cardiologist has sent me to rehab like 7 times since I've been diagnosed. So I don't think he's gonna fight. I've came out and asked him how long am I gonna live. He said he's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. We've seen miracles, we've seen bad things. He's like, your echocardiogram last time, your ejection fraction was 50%. That was a miracle, and that was after a 2 month fucking crack run. I still don't know what's going on, but I'll tell you this. Um, the reason I got to this is because it's so fucking cold outside and snowy and fucking nasty, and that it's miserable, and it's causing me like seasonal depression. And the number one cause of death for people with cardiomyopathy, if you Google it, happens to be shoveling snow. So I could get out of it if I wanted. If I had another man around the house, my son is still young and he'll run away the second I open the door. He's 10-year-old, nonverbal, autistic maniac, like a Tasmanian devil. So the second I open this door, he's out. I'd rather pay people. And I saw FBS talking about that on his show, how he found 2 kids for $40. I would gladly. I stood in front of my place for hours before I actually shoveled fucking, because I was talking to some of the neighbors and shit. And because the owner doesn't send anyone here. And the owner lives in Pennsylvania. This whole complex, the one time I want to be on my phone so I can show you. Um, but anyone wondering about my title, I was just reading about some crazy shit for school. I'm taking 3 crazy classes at one time. One of them is the history of jazz, whatever. But then there are 3 other ones: politics, the current state of politics, um, the Holocaust, and terrorism and national security. 3 separate classes these are. There's another name to the real name to the politics class is it says it's politics and something. I think maybe politics and terrorism even. So they're all like these classes are really perfect timing for what's going on now. But then with the Epstein files coming out now, I don't even know what the fuck's going on. So, it's I don't even want to get into that shit. So I've been looking at, where we went wrong, because I took American modern history last semester and I started reading about Richard Nixon, okay? And I got into him a little bit. And I ended up renting a book from my Kindle Unlimited on my Kindle on my phone. I read a lot. That's like what I do all day, all night when I can't sleep. It allows me to fall asleep. If I'm not, when I shut this computer down, I have homework to do, and I'll probably like be late to doing it because I'll start reading a book I have open on my Kindle. It's like my new addiction. And I read a lot on Nixon, pro and not pro, and he was really railroaded. He was a very, first of all, he was very intellectual, a lot smarter than people thought. Because first of all, this JFK, everybody bugs out. Where were you the day he shot? And he was so handsome and this and that. He was a fucking shitty president. My dad was in the army that was his claim to fame in our family. He was involved. He was on a ship. Well, actually, he wasn't on a ship. I can't lie. He was at the time involved in transporting troops from base to base, because there was a lot of military activity going on in our country at the time, and a lot of movements and a lot of people getting on ships and Navy ships, and people were getting ready because we were worried about Cuba, the Bay of Pigs invasion. That's what I was a little kid. That's all I heard about: Bay of Pigs invasion, Bay of Pigs invasion. And I never learned about it in school until maybe middle school. So I never even knew what my dad was talking about. But the more I look into that shit, I mean, we fucked that up. There was we built a whole economy. We could have made Cuba part of America. I mean, and we had a thriving economy, bigger than Vegas. Those casinos out there were making more money than Las Vegas. They were, maybe the mobsters at the time were making money, but it would have ended up just like it is today, where big tech and big companies bought them over and bought them out after they all went to jail, and it would have ended up providing jobs and capital. Um, Not saying I love the fact that the government stole all of our street crimes and put us out of business, because I was a pot dealer, and I was put out of business. I was outpriced by the government, basically. And my best friend owns a dispensary, my childhood best friend, and it doesn't even help me in any way. So I don't really love that everything's legal now, weed and gambling and this, but I do at the same time, because um, they fuck. Well, let's just say they fucked up in Cuba. That's the bottom line. I don't know who killed Kennedy. I'm not saying it was Carlos Marcello or Santo Trafficante or any of that shit. I'm not. I'm not prone to that information. I fell asleep during the Kevin Costner movie with all the theories and all that shit. I just know he sucked balls, and he sent in, all these people. Batista was throwing money to give to our government because he thought the mobsters had access to our government because we helped them during World War II, with the ports after the Normandy got blown up by a German submarine close to the New York Harbor. After the mob started helping the government, not one ship was blown up ever again. And we also helped them with the layout of Italy and all that stuff. So, I think from there, I whatever. Then they shot him. What happened is what's his name? Fidel Castro had all these people as a social movement. Let's fucking dance in the streets and take over. And all the wise guys are running fucking with suitcases with thousands of dollars falling out of them, just trying to get out of the country alive or not put in jail and still have their money. And they're running into houses and hidden in the mountains. It must have been chaos. I could only imagine, if you really think about what went on in Cuba at that time. It must have been fucking psychotic. And, I think about this because everybody just thinks, whatever, that was before my time and shit. Like, this shit was only, 20 years before I was in high school, and I used to, like there was still segregation like 20, 30 years before I made it to middle school. Like, that shit blows my mind. I used to always think all this shit was like hundreds of years ago. But when I take these classes now, American history, terrorism, the Holocaust, especially the Holocaust, I have a feeling that class, I haven't even started that class yet. I took the semester started Monday, so shit is like starting to be due now, our first assignments. Some shit is due today, some shit is due tomorrow, from some of the classes. And I haven't even delved into the Holocaust shit yet. I I always have a big debate with people whether being Jewish is a race or a nationality or a religion. I mean, or a race, because when you ask a Jewish person what they are, they say Jewish. But when you ask an Irish person what he is, they say Irish. So it's weird because Jewish is a religion, not a race. So they should really be saying Polish or Russia, because that's where they're all from. It always gets my you know that's it always just gets my brain going, right, Michael? It's crazy. And you're around my age, I have a feeling, Mr. Mormile, right? Like, I mean, you seem to be I don't know, you seem to have, like, we seem to be on the same page, so I think you're You're close to my age. 1970. Me too. I was 32378. That's my birthday. So all right. So wait, that's what I thought. Um. So yeah. So this stuff was like it's crazy, and you know, and since this isn't where I was going with any of this. I was going to get into the Richard Nixon shit, but I'll even skip this now for that. Just because you're in 1978. Um, I don't know what part of the country you're in, but did 9/11 affect you? Like, was it an unprecedented, life changing, scary situation at the time? Where you look at it now and you wonder how the new generation doesn't like really understand how crazy it was. Do you ever get that feeling? Um, So you're in New Jersey. So yeah. So well, you're in New Jersey now, but I don't know where you were in 2001. But I worked at 40 Wall Street in Manhattan, um, in the Trump Building. Believe it or not, right next to the stock exchange. I didn't do stocks at the time, but I worked for an insurance company. And 9/11 was like a defining moment in my life. Sometimes when I remember memories, what helps me remember them is I think, was that before 9/11 or after 9/11? Like, that's how crazy it is. I mean, and I remember at the time, so you were working in New York and they shut down the pier. Yes. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, you know the deal. So I mean, remember, it was all about never forget, and um, oh, you're from Brooklyn. Okay, perfect. So I have a feeling you know what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to shit on the new generation, whatever they're called, Generation Z, I think they're called. Um, but I just don't think they understand. I don't think it was all about never forget and this and that. And then all I hear now is like Columbia University. I don't know if that's an Ivy League school or whatever, but that place is fucked, bro. I went to Columbia University and they were handing out pamphlets on 9/11, just saying about how we did it to ourselves, and people were actually saying we deserved it on American soil, handing me a pamphlet, and I was just like, what the hell is going on? But yeah, it was crazy. At 7 o'clock every night, everyone was just putting out flags. Um, People had flags on their car. Everyone's chanting USA. Fucking, you got the most unpopular president now in the world, and I'll tell you about him too. One show, I read many books about him because I'm one of the few people that didn't turn my back on him when he blew the whole economy up in 2008 with the housing crisis, because he actually meant well, but Americans are savages and took advantage of it, and it's human nature. That's why socialism turns into communism when it becomes a government. That's what I was going to get into with Castro. He fooled all these people into following a socialism movement, but when they became a government, they couldn't hold on to socialism, so it automatically became a communist government. But about 9/11, what I was saying was, you know, I actually was like mind blown at what people. I don't care about, if you want to have a conspiracy theory about 9/11 and, Halliburton and Bush made money on oil and all that, I get it. Fine. You can do all that. You know, all I know is I owned a bar in 2003, the night George Bush announced he was invading Iraq with something called shock and awe. And I gave 1,500 screaming people that were clapping and crying and hugging each other a shot. Everyone did a shot together at 9 o'clock that night when he announced it. And, then we didn't find any weapons there, so whatever. That's when, Iraq is when the temperature, basically when that guy Michael Moore came out with that movie. That's a big part of when the temperature of this country changed, and it has not recovered. September 12th. Not that I would ever want to go through another September 11th, but September 12th was a beautiful day. Um, yeah, you know, um, September 12th was a beautiful day. Just uh, everyone was an American that day, and there hasn't been anything like anywhere near that since then. And everything became political, and the temperature in this country has done nothing but rise since then. At the time, I didn't even think Obama was a good president, but I ended up looking back on history. I always said, okay, when you look back on history, you're going to be thankful that you had that guy Bush Jr. in president, in 9/11. This generation doesn't even see that. I mean, who would you have rather had? John Kerry? I mean, even though I think he was the foreign affairs person for like Barack Obama. But I look back in history and I changed my mind about some things. Obamacare, I think the healthcare changed for better with Obama. And I know that's crazy for a Republican to say, but I wanted to get into Nixon because Watergate was a CIA guy and a naval intelligence guy. Bob Woodward was the naval intelligence guy who just happened to become, that's actually the day. The day of Watergate is the day fake news started. Bob Woodward, or whatever his name is, look into his background. He was not a reporter, but yet he was the one who reported this for the Washington Post. How did he get the gig to report the biggest story in American history after like 2 weeks on the job at the Washington Post? This was a calculated move to get Nixon, out. They have recordings that show how smart Nixon was and how Nixon knew they were trying to get him out. Um, and if you look at the similarities, a lot of people say Reagan was the best president and this and that. If you look at a lot of the similarities, um, Nixon was very similar to Reagan, but looks like I just got one person in here, so might be a failed mission. Nobody was really interested in today's topic, but thank you, Michael Mormile. I really appreciate you, and Miss Can't Be Wrong, of course. Um, and maybe I'll go on again later when Sunday service is over and all that shit. Um, I'm not really getting into the drama with the YouTube, everything that's going on. Common, they did a good show on MRE exposing him the other night, and the whole soul flow thing was just crazy. I didn't say a word about it, and I'm not going to say a word about it. Gunsmoke did a good. I said last night you did a good job on that Biggie Small shit, but I think I'm blocked from him too by accident or something. Maybe he don't like me. I don't know, but who knows? But all right, guys, whoever's here, thank you very much. I love you all. A little later, I'm going to be talking about drugs and relapsing and the step work. And the reason I'm doing that is because um, I I have a sponsor now that's really up my ass, and he don't play like like he gives me homework and a due date, and I used to not have to write shit down, but with this guy I have to write shit down, and like step 4 is when you usually start writing shit down. This guy's got me writing shit down. I'm doing workbooks and shit at step 1, and step 1, all you're supposed to do is And I'm not complaining. I'm doing it his way because my way never works. Um, not that he'll ever be satisfied with me because I don't go to meetings, but and I'm on some medications he doesn't approve of. But you know, I also wanted to ask if anyone ever, I wanted to ask if anyone ever took legalized testosterone, Cipro. It's given by the doctor when you have low testosterone. I was prescribed it, and you have to buy the needles. Of course, the insurance doesn't cover it, but my needles, I don't know what I do to them, but they like two times now they broke off in my arm. Like I have two loose needles in my arm for like weeks now. And I was just wondering if anyone had any advice, if there are any gym rats out there that do steroids or any ex junkies or anything, because I never did. Anytime I did heroin, I was a sniffer. I never shot it, and I haven't done an opiate in 8 years. So I don't even remember any friends telling me about that shit. But all right, guys. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you guys later. And Michael Mormile, thanks as always. You shout me out anytime, man. Especially if you're ever around Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens. You got my number, man. 675-0096, area code 516. Someone shouted me out last night. I don't want to say his name, but we had a whole text back and forth at like 10 o'clock at night, man, and it was cool. Uh, he ended up living in Florida, but I became good friends with him on the chat and Gunsmoke's chat. Sal's bodyguard, what up, my man? So yeah, guys, I'm gonna get out of here now because I got homework to do, and it's the only time it's quiet in my house right now because my son is at a birthday party. He's roller skating at another fellow disabled kid's. So when will you be back? I think I'll be back. I mean, I want to start going in the chats. Well, let me just finish with this. They'll be home in a couple hours, and then I'll go on again because I'll be done with the homework and the peace and quiet. But I want to start going back in the chats and having fun with people. I want to go on panels. I'm doing this from my computer so that I can learn how to have someone on the panel. I want to be able to bring someone up. Like right now, I don't know how to drop my link or anything like that right now. I think I got to find StreamYard. Michael told me yesterday. I haven't even started fucking with it yet, but I just want to get the feel of doing it on the computer right now because this way, when I tell you I could look up things, on my phone, I can actually look them up. You can slowly figure all that out. Yeah, thanks, Michael. Exactly. Um, because it's just with the phone thing, it's stupid. I felt making videos was better and then uploading them when I was on my phone because doing lives, whatever. Michael, we need to help out Sal. Thanks, guys. I believe that he'll be great so you can control the show. Thank you, man. I appreciate it always, man. Nothing but love, guys. Um, And even if you can help me, if someone ever wants to fucking tell me with that, because when I type in like, how do I send out an alert that I'm going live? I hope that my subscribers automatically get a notification, at least my subscribers, but I don't know. Is that what happened? I like. I wish Gunsmoke would have me on. I really truly don't think I'm welcome. I mean, I'm welcome in the chat. I'm assuming, but I don't think Sal's bodyguard. I don't think he would have me on the panel. Unless I was vetted and screened thoroughly by him and the boys. Common and them. But I like. Very cool, Michael Mormon. Very cool. Thank you for that. Thank you. Very cool. Um, and very, yeah, I agree, man. I'm fighting my own battle with, I mean, I have a 16-year-old daughter that's an angel, but has her own issues. But my 10-year-old son, I'm just fighting a battle just to get him to, he has developmental disabilities, but it could be so much worse, but it could be so much better. And I got to look at it, the glass is half full. And, it's always good to have a support system around. And thank you, Sal's Bodyguard. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Once again, man, nothing but love. Sal's Bodyguard, Michael Moormile. Miss Can't Be Wrong. Don't think I forgot about you in the beginning. I know you were. I know you were out there. Biggie Smalls. I saw you before, and that's about it, man. Slowly but surely. I want to just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. You want me to give my opinion? I'm trying to stay away from the Mob 2 drama. You guys want my opinion on some stuff? Ask me. I have no problem doing shows with that. Anyone wants to come on my show, teach me how. You want me to talk about my recovery and how I'm doing? I'll gladly fill you in on that stuff. Let me know. You want to know what mob books I'm reading this week? I'll let you know that too. I'm just kind of here as like a fun bullshit show, like a hangout show. Um, and it's kind of like an NA. The reason I compare it to an NA meeting is because I'll stay on. It's 36 minutes I've been on with three people. It's not like I'm just gonna be like, fuck it. You know, is it embarrassing? Yeah, it's a little embarrassing, but it is what it is, and um, that's it. It is what it is. So thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate you. Um, and any feedback you can give me, any questions you have, and any advice you have is always welcome. All right. Thanks, guys.